Hey, what is going on, YouTube? Aaron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and today we are in the USS Constellation, the aircraft carrier turned battleship here. No, you do not get any, squadrons to command. You do get a plane here or a secondary boost consumable if you so choose. But, guys, I'm going to be quite honest. I am not a huge fan of this ship. I did have, I guess you could say, a little bit of fun playing it, but in certain situations when I needed, either a cruiser or a battleship to get into a situation and get me out of that situation, I would have much rather been in a battleship or a cruiser. This thing is basically like a cruiser type battleship. You have some, decent speed, decent maneuverability, and decent concealment here. Your trade-offs are lackluster armor, only 8 guns, which they're not too bad, but they are the Colorado guns, I believe. I just feel like they're not punching as much as they should. But all of those things aside, we have one of our games this morning, and this was one of our better games. It shows you all of the aspects of the ship. Here we have this Massachusetts broadside. We take a nice leading shot. We are missing a little bit on the range because we do not have beyond range in the 4th slot. So only 18.1 kilometers of range. And here we get a little bit trolled with either RNG or dispersion despite running fairly a max dispersion build. Minus Scharnhorst, we only get 5,500 damage. So most of us Battleship players know that we should have gotten more, and all of the conspiracy theorists want 8 citadels per shot, but most of us know that that is not something we will get every time. Here the Z-23 pops up, so we go ahead and target him. You only have 5 kilometer secondaries, but you actually do have 9 kilometer torpedoes. In the meantime, we took another shot at that Massachusetts, getting more of a shot, more of a salvo that I prefer, especially on broadside battleships. I did get fairly trolled, I think, this morning with these guns and a few of these shots, with the exception of this shot on this Miyoku here, in which we get the absolute best RNG. You can see we actually aim that shot a touch high. The Miyoku is angling out just a bit. We are as well. We popped our plane, and good night, Miyoku. Thanks for playing. So if you can get salvos like that for most of the game, then this ship will be very nasty. But, as most of us know, RNG comes in waves, and we did not get it this time. Here you will notice our destroyer, who is none other than Kickin' Mustang himself, is utilizing his KMCS ghillie suit to get out of... No, I'm just kidding. If you guys know who that is, that's a good joke. If not, you guys should check out Kickin' Mustang's channel. He is one of the UK's greatest airsoft content creator. He's probably a top 1% content creator in the UK. He is doing fantastic. Here we accidentally popped our radar because it is in the right D-pad slot instead of our plane. We wanted to take a shot on that hipper, and normally the accuracy plane, which helps your grouping, is on the right D-pad, but for some reason Wargaming will not let us customize the D-pads, so I popped the radar by mistake. Here we have an Awami, and like I said about this central location, it's a good position to get crossfires, but it's also a good position to get broadsided. At this point, I am noticing that the last spotted battleship was out there, and that is when we get the kill, and that is also when the Zeton pops up and takes a good chunk of our health because we are flat broadside to him. So a touch of a mistake, but thank goodness it was just a Zeton and not another battleship. But pay attention to that because you do not want to show broadside in this thing. We will go over the armor at the end like we mentioned, but the armor on this thing is just, it's very squishy. So you definitely want to pay attention to your broadside. I went ahead and edited out a few of the boring repositioning moments here. We took a shot at a destroyer, that's why we had the HE loaded. So a few thousand that we got on that Z, and we took another shot at this Massachusetts here with the HE. And we did get a fire, but you'll notice the HE is average. I wouldn't recommend spamming HE in American battleships, although when enemy battleships are bow tanking you and you've already saturated their superstructure, you should be a good battleship player and switch to HE. This ship is not going to overly excel in the guns, although, you can, as we showed with that Miyoki, you can get some absolutely devastating broadsides, but here we're just getting trolled. You can see me, I'm like, give me a good hit. We know that when you reduce the overall amount of guns, for example, this ship has 8, that you're reducing the overall amount of shells you throw down range. You couple that with, RNG, and you can only get, sometimes limited hits, which is why a ship like the Kansas is actually fairly good because of, it's just got accuracy and volume. This Massachusetts player must have better RNG than me because he sailed broadside for most of the match and did not pay for it. But here we actually get him, take him down, and now this game is pretty much over. But I want you guys to stay because we actually rack up quite the little damage total here. Not too much, but we utilize the ship's armor, the radar, and the torpedoes in this next upcoming engagement here. Here we actually have a viewer of the channel, Mr. Bismarck himself. At this point, we're taking some shots at his superstructure because he is angled, and that is when the Elbing decides to smoke up here. We're preemptively popping our heel because we know that our armor is significantly worse than his. We've got a 27mm nose, and he can punch right through that. Now, I will say that I think a lot of people are going to purchase this ship and then get, some good games in it, and that's only because of the new ship syndrome. This happens often with ships like this. This is not a bad ship in any regard, but people, they see something new, they buy it, they play it, they have a few good games, they tell others about it. Others buy it, that maybe one or two good games, but at that point, a lot of other players have seen this ship and they know how to counter it. Here we are utilizing the utility of our radar. This Elbing set a smoke screen and Bismarck is pushing in. We are undetected and we're going to line up a torpedo run. Now this Elbing decided to go forward, then go backwards. I'm not sure why, but we're going to hold our salvo. We know that we're only going to do a minimal amount of damage to his superstructures. In the meantime, we can also let our secondaries do their thing. They're not the most effective secondaries. You can see they're just, tickling what HB he has left in his superstructure, but we're working on our drive-by. So we bump the Elbing. We say, hey, can you please get out of the way? You do have to open up angle to get these torpedoes off. You can see the torpedo angles are pretty bad, and that is when the Saipan pops up. Watching the replay back, I should have used my plane, and that is when Bismarck absolutely obliterates my broadside there. We almost get the dev strike on the Saipan. We launched our slow-moving American torpedoes. We get Mr. Bismarck there. It actually took 2 torps to kill him. That torpedo reduction on the Alabama there is pretty successful. So we almost had a dev strike, double strike, but we missed that. But here, the Saipan, he has accepted the loss of this game because his team did not help him much at all. But during that engagement, you guys will notice we got absolutely yeeted by that Alabama. So a fair play to Mr. Bismarck. A nice little finishing total there. And again, like I said, I wanted to put this game up because it shows you guys all aspects of this ship. The radar, the guns, the armor, the speed, the maneuverability. I think this ship is good. I wouldn't go out of my way to buy this thing, but it's something different. It's something fun. Now, as we mentioned previously, I think new ship syndrome is very real. This happens often with, like the Collingwood. A lot of people, they get it, they play it, and it's like, oh, this is new, this is fun. And in reality, the ship is just, I don't know, I don't think much of anything of the Collingwood personally. But, this happens with every new release. But this is a game, this was one of my more average games. Like I said, we didn't have too many fantastic games in this thing, but player base aside, that's kind of how you have to deal with it. A nice finishing total here. Shout out to Stang for playing a few games with me this morning. Like I said, if you guys don't know who he is, you definitely have to check out his channel. He's a fantastic content creator. But here we're going to go over the stats and commander guide. We are running AL New Jersey with her special trait, Flammable Cannoneer Crisscross there. We're not running gyrating drill bits. I wouldn't recommend that. Using your speed in the ship is an advantage. Firefighter and her special trait there in the 4th slot of Don't You Just Love It, which increases your dispersion and you get more damage with citadels. So if you can get those citadels to hit, then that's going to be really advantageous for you. We're also running Cunningham for the grouping and De Revel for the reload. I don't really think Scharnhorst is necessary, and that is for the 4th module slot we are running here, which is your dispersion. Yes, you could get an extra 3%, but basically we have about 20%. And yeah, you could add Scharnhorst, but I think grouping is much more important. Here we have the consumables of the heel, the radar, and the spotter plane, which increases your shell grouping. I swear it was dispersion for a while, but I guess maybe that is one of those Mandela effects. Here we have the survivability, 63,300, the guns, 406s, by the Mark V version, 18.1 kilometer range, 25-second reload with a 25-second turret traverse. I think the turret traverse in the 1st slot is a good choice. And, average secondaries, I like the guns, but I think they could be a little bit more. The torpedoes, you only have three of them. They're basically, think of three Fletcher torps, 9.2 kilometer range, 55 knot speed with a 16,000 max damage. So those are pretty much last resort. The AA is actually fairly good. I think I got two clear skies this morning getting focused by carriers. I don't know, there was a lot of carrier matches this morning, but the AA is decent as it is an American battleship. The maneuverability is where this ship really excels. 33 knot top speed there, 830 meter turning circle with a 15.3 rudder time. You couple that with her concealment and you've got yourself a decent battlecruiser, battleship, whatever. Here, though, is where the ship lacks, in my opinion, the armor. You get chunked everywhere. That 27mm nose allows you to get overmatched by 406s and above, which is half of the lobby at tier 7 and 8. You know, this thing will do well at tier 6, but yeah. She is fairly chunky, you know, with a good side, belts and plating there, but for the most part, you are very susceptible to HE spam and just overall penetrations on the bow and stern. The Citadel is fairly protected. It's pretty close to the waterline, but as you saw with Mr. Bismarck in the Alabama there, he yeeted me fairly well. On top of that, if players know they can overmatch your nose, they're just going to go right through and punch your Citadel there. That has been the USS Constellation, though, ladies and gentlemen. A fun ship, a new ship, but I don't think it's going to be considered overpowered in any sense of the word anytime soon. So I hope you guys like that first look and review. I will try and be, let me know if you guys think I should change up my build, and we'll maybe run one tonight on stream. But in the meantime, that is the review, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Aaron out. Peace.